I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
What up? Listen, it's boy, I thought, look, you see Marie Jones? We didn't see her last time. She was out shopping somewhere out of town, but she back, y'all. Listen, I tell you what, Julius Campbell, Julius Hall, Marie Jones, Frederick Green, we are here back, Incarceration to Incorporation, or better known as Ink to Ink, and we are with you again on a Friday night. I'm talking about we are going to get to the groove in tonight. We're going to tell you about an upcoming event that we are going to do. We're putting this thing on coming up in November. Fred and Marie are going to tell us a little bit more about it. But before we do that, Marie, who are we and what do we do?
We are OAA, Offenders Alumni Association, where we empower, encourage, and educate one another, because not one person can do it alone. Your testimony can take and help someone else, because that's what we do. We share stories, as Julius Campbell would say, and we connect the dots. And here is Fred Green to bring you a hi, Frederick.
What's happening? How y'all doing today? What's up, Ink to Ink family?
What up? Fred, tell us about Filling in the Gap.
Well, Filling the Gaps in collaboration with OAA is there to empower, to educate, and also advocate for those who are justice system impacted, as well as those who are socioeconomically disadvantaged. My mantra is to repair breaches, and restore lives.
You know what, Fred?
And restore lives. Go ahead, Marie.
Excuse me, Miko. You know what, Fred? I think that you should be an attorney.
You think so?
Oh, yes. Like, listen what you just said about the last part. Say that part over. Restore what?
Repair breaches and restore lives.
Now, don't you think that's what people who are facing, going to a judge, to face a judge, they need an attorney like you. Okay. Somebody who cares, somebody that's going to go, and somebody who done, like, you know, they said a grassroots, somebody done been down in the gutter. You know what it is, Fred. And I think you can go in there, especially you're smart, Fred. You'll go in there and you'll get the law books and you'll learn what you need to learn to help them.
Well, you know, we try to talk about that. You know, we make sure that people, we need to do that as a part of OAA and Filling the Gaps is, you know, teach people law. That was something that was very instrumental with the Black Panthers politicalist party. You know, when the police pulled them over, they didn't read them their rights. Huey P. Newton and them read the police their rights.
Wow.
Because they knew law. You see what I'm saying? And that's the only way that we're going to win is we know law. That's why most people get railroaded. First of all, because they don't know law. Secondly, because they don't have proper legal representation. So I might need to go get that Juris Doctorate. And OAA can fund it.
I think you should.
You heard that? And OAA can fund it.
Listen. I understand it. Guess what? Fred, I believe that since you said, Miko, listen to this, Julie. Since he said that, if we fund it, that means that God gonna make a way that for us to fund it.
Or we could do something better. I don't understand why organizations, and it's going along with the topic about getting expungements tonight. I don't know why organizations don't have no attorney guides. Because if you look at the mob, if you look at any kind of what they classify as organized crime organizations, they got attorneys on deck. So we ain't got to become no attorney. All we got to do is have attorneys on deck. So I'm lacing y'all with that game out there. If you got an organization, you're a stakeholder, you need to come on board and help people begin to have proper legal representation. So we don't even have to do this Expungement Clinic.
I like that.
For sure. So listen, before we get ready to talk about the Expungement Clinic, because Fred, Marie, we're going to pepper you with some questions we want you to definitely have the dates down packed. We want to let you know where the address and location is going to be. But before we get there, Fred is talking about proper representation. We are specifically talking about justice impacted people and returning citizens. Language matters. So first, Fred, tell us a little bit about why language matters. Justice impacted, returning citizen. Break it down.
Because I like to say justice system impacted. People try to take the system out of it because we know that oppression is systemic. The whole system is laws, policies, courts, probation, parole. It's from the rooter to the tutor, the whole system. Yes. So a lot of people just say justice is kind of, for me, it kind of just put it on the individuals. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like at-risk youth. I no longer like to use the term at-risk youth. I like to say youth in at-risk environments, because what it does, take the stigma off the youth and saying there, and turns it into the victim of saying, okay, whether or not the whole environment is conducive to that person's learning, whether that person is able to thrive or whatever. Because you take a young person, right? Abused in their home, right? They're being molested in their home, right? So they begin to act out because of that. Is the youth at risk, or is the youth going back to at-risk?
It's going back to an at-risk environment. And
so I think language matters.
Language does, you know what, and Fred, language does matter, because in court, if you don't say the right things, because let me tell you something. When Destiny got hurt, they say, because I say Destiny got hurt, that must be meant I did it. I should have said it was an accident. Yeah. You understand? So language very much does matter, and how you speak in court.
Yes. Yes. Matter of fact, let's let the people know that we all three got something in common. Each one of us have been incarcerated. We are justice system impacted, as Mr. Green said. But I'm gonna keep it real. I still like my returning citizen, because I'm returning back into society, and I am a citizen, not second class relegated. But listen, I don't want to just keep on talking about the language right there. What we're going to talk about tonight is an event that is taking place. Ms. Jones, do you have that flyer with us so you can tell us exactly what date that is and the location?
Yes, sir. I do not have the flyer, sir, but I know the date and the location. Okay, the location is 8011 Waters Avenue, and the date is November the 13th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. And if you're a person that's not going to be on time, be there at 4:30, because you're going to need this information. This is some great information if you want your record expunged or sealed. And also you can go get your background, your GDIC, Miko? GCIC. You can go to Thunderbolt Police Department, or you can go to, where else they can go? Thunderbolt Police Department.
Any kind of police department, to the DA's
get your background.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get your background.
Let us back up a little bit and start from the beginning. What is Expungement Clinc, number one? And why are we doing this, Mr. Green, number two?
Well, I think we are collaborating with the Devetter law firm, Nancy Devetter and her team. They're doing an extraordinary job at restorative justice. And restorative justice means that they want to see oppressed population, justice system impacted people become whole again, and be able to benefit from society like every other person. When you talk about expungement restrictions, so I want to first give credit to them. And when we have another podcast, maybe one of the representatives will be on to really horn down on what they're doing and peel back the onion. But I'm going to just kind of start the peeling, okay? The Devetter law firm has been working on expungement restrictions and pardons in Savannah, Georgia, and all over. Georgia Legal Services is doing it. The Georgia Justice Project is doing it. And so we found that trying to help individuals get stuff off their records, remove things off their records that should no longer be there, because once you paid your debt to society, it should not hinder you from doing anything else. That means employment, obtaining housing, If you're a professional, get a licensure, get education. If you want to go into academia or higher education, it should not prohibit you. But we know this system has allowed our past to hinder us from being able to do things that everybody else get. Like you talk about citizenship, like a normal citizen would be able to do.
I like that.
Don't stop, because when you break down that expungement clinic that's getting ready to take place, and Ms. Devetter, but we also want people to understand that what OAA is doing. We are one of the vendors. We are sponsoring this, and we're doing this because, as Ms. Jones stated, we believe that we need to connect these dots. There are so many people right now, as Mr. Green has alluded to, that are looking for jobs, that's trying to find housing, but they are being denied because of these background checks, and because they still, excuse me, have some things on their record from 15, 20 to 30 years ago that just simply say, well, I mean, I just never thought I can get rid of it. And so I know, for example, Miss Jones, I think you was in the process of doing the same thing, getting it removed. Yes?
Yes, sir. And guess what? You can also, Nancy Devetter, she's a very good attorney also, but you can go down to your local Chatham County courthouse, if not your courthouse. I just stay in Chatham County, so I'm calling the courthouse thing. And you can go and talk to the DA's office. And if you have not been in the penal system, which is prison, anything that's on your record that's like a misdemeanor, anything that the judge said that you're not guilty on, they can go ahead and have those things removed for you. So I think that is very good, because I think that's Julius and Fred, I don't understand why if a person has been incarcerated, what does that have to do with their living status of getting them a place to live, having a place to, why would that affect me getting a place to stay? Just because I've been incarcerated. You know this too, Julius and Fred, that even in insurance, I'm talking about like life insurance, if you are a felon, they don't want to give you insurance.
Yeah, it's a lot of barriers, and see what people got to understand about the system as a whole. You have to take it back to antiquity. You have to take it back. People don't like to have the conversation, but you have to take it back to enslavement. The 13th Amendment, which is on the books, and I may not quote it verbatim, but I'm really, really close.
Right.
That slavery and indentured servitude has been abolished, except when the party has been punished by a crime or duly convicted.
That's true. That's what it says.
That's what it say off top. You can go read it, check it out there. If you're viewing audience, if you want to go check it, go check it. I might be off a hair bit of a word, but I'm right on point, like Stacey Adams. Now, so basically, when it comes to Black people and oppressed people, it's enslavement by another name. It's nothing else. It's nothing else but that.
Right.
In order for me to subjugate you, I must keep you from being able to vote. That's the major one right there.
Exactly.
That hold the vote, hold the power. So they strip that off top. I must keep you from voting. I must keep you from being able to live somewhere. I must keep you from being able to work. I must keep you from being able to do any other thing that you need to do that's going to give you some upward mobility so that you can stay inside the penal system.
That's it, Fred. That's just what I was about to say.
Or be like they would say back in the day, OGSP, convict leased.
Yes.
Because they knew that people, they knew that family, and we're going to get to expungement, but they knew that family members after enslavement, after Emancipation Proclamation, right, post-Emancipation Proclamation, that they could not afford to get their family members out. So what did they do? They criminalized them. And that's what we are facing today.
Listen, before we go on, I got to definitely give shots out. What's going on, area, Scott, and also David Banner. You know, and I want to turn to my page and see what's going on over there as well. But why are we talking about what we're talking about? What Ms. Jones has already alluded to, housing issues and employment issues. And what we have is filling in the gap in OAA, connecting with the Devetter Law and some other partners. And we want to connect these dots. We want you to understand that you don't have to keep these old things on your record. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance means you don't know. And what we want to do is we want to educate you and then encourage you. And so now, Fred, tell us a little bit more about expungement and the process that goes along with it.
Okay, so I'm going to talk from the lived experience, and I'm going to talk from Georgia law.
Right.
In Georgia law, it said that record restriction in Georgia is the process of restricting criminal records from public view. Not all criminal records will be eligible, but those which can be sealed away from public view.
Okay.
Which means, so when you talk about restriction and expungement, the terms are pretty much synonymous with one another. Okay, they're interchangeable. In other words, Julius and Marie and those that are listening, they're interchangeable. 1 minute they would call it expungement, then they move on restrictions. If I'm wrong, then the Devetter law firm could straighten that up when they come out. But I'm looking at Georgia law. All right. So now, so basically, you want to seal it. So when you're trying to go get a job, you or get a housing, people can't look at your background and say, okay, 30 years ago you committed this crime, because as we said, first of all, there's no correlation or no research that suggests because a person has a criminal background that they'll be a bad employee or a bad tenant.
Exactly.
Or a bad student.
Exactly.
Right? It's all a trick bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Devetter them helped me get my pardon from the state of Georgia in 2021. Right. So now I can go, I got full rights restored as a formerly incarcerated individual. I got full rights restored. I can go in. I checked it, y'all. I went straight in the gun shop. Okay. I ain't had no weapons charges on my jacket. I went straight. When he was running it, I was looking. I said, everything all right? Everything all right? All right. So I was able to walk out of there with a piece of iron. Okay.
Oh,
so
then it's restored.
Yeah, at the store, it's got serial numbers and everything. You know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
You run up, I get a no bill. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about that later. All right. So now, so therefore, my rights have been restored. I'm able to vote. And remember now, you all can vote once you get off paper. So if you're on paper, once you get off paper in the state of Georgia, that's not relative to all states, but when you get off paper in the state of Georgia, you can exercise your right to vote. People died, bled for the right. So that's expungement. Another thing that they could do is pardon. Okay. So there are some terms that go along with that. A pardon in the state of Georgia means that your record is sealed for review as well. But you're pardoned by the governor and by the state that you reside in. Okay. So why is this important? Because we've been working on fair chance housing, fair chance hiring. And I remember when I first started working on fair chance housing, they had a such thing called crime-free housing. So the crime-free housing program was nationwide.
Hold up 1 second, because you finna go down in there, and this is good. I'm gonna need you to back up. But before we do that, we got to pay some bills. So just give us a few seconds. Listen, we be right back. Expungement, pardons. Listen, you need to know what we're talking about. Let's pay some bills. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, we paid a little bit of bills. Now, just rewind just a little bit, and Fred, start back about 10 seconds before and give it to us.
All right. So when you talk about the expungement process, I'm kind of related to housing. Okay. When you talk about the expungement process, don't forget you have people who are affected with pending charges who have not went through due process yet. You have people who are affected by misdemeanor charges. You have people affected by felonies, and the felonies are classified in two, non-violent and violent felonies.
Right.
And you have, don't forget about this group, Julius. Watch this. I'm finna hit you square between the eyes. Non-exonerees. Look at how many people are being let loose now at the Innocent Project. So if you are exoneree and you listening, you still got to get that thing expunged, restricted or pardoned, and get it sealed so it don't show up, even though you've been set free through the Innocent Project. Like I just read on the internet, this guy did 39 years, been locked up since he's been 18 years old, and he was found not guilty of a murder. You see what I'm saying? Because of the Innocent Project. Because remember, a long time ago, they will beat people into submission on saying they did crimes, especially in places like Mississippi and Alabama. They'll beat you into saying that you did a crime that you ain't even did. You be so dizzy, yeah, I did it, but you ain't even did it. So, and that's not making light or fun of that. That's right. So that those exonerees is very important, that they get their record sealed. And matter of fact, I just had a partner. He didn't give me permission to put his name out there. Stuff 26 years in the federal penitentiary. Went to go get an apartment. Called me. Said, man, they rejected me. Okay, so I called. So I told him, I said, well, look at the screening process, and we're gonna get into that when it relates to housing. Look at the screening process. They went back 30-something years on him on a state charge.
Wow.
He thought he got it nolle prosse, but it never got sealed. Right. So guess what? They went back and saw it, but because we perish for lack of knowledge, y'all. I'm gonna say that one more again, Julius, Marie, and listen.
That's so true.
We are literally perishing. Now that's a biblical concept, Pastor, but it's true. You could use it through everything we go through in life. Lack of information, lack of knowledge. So that's why we lace you with this game. So if you got an opportunity, you've been out of jail, prison, you had a pending charge, don't just say it been dismissed. Go get it sealed, go get it expunged, go get it restricted. If you are a 2 or 3 time felon, go for a pardon. Now you asked about the GCIC. I'm glad you asked about that, Julius. The GCIC is basically your criminal background. The only reason why the G is in front of it because we live in Georgia. So wherever you at, whatever the mechanism is for obtaining your criminal background, to see what's on your criminal background, that's what you have to bring to Expungement Clinic so that attorneys like Nancy Devetter, whoever's doing expungement, can look at it and say, this is what you can get off, this is what you need to expunge, this is what you need to restrict, these right here you're going to need to go for a pardon. Because in the state of Georgia, just open it up where even some violent felonies can be pardoned through the state of Georgia.
Right. Oh man, thank you for that. Now you gave us a couple of benefits to getting your records expunged. You shared a little bit about you getting your little pow, when you went in the store. Then you talked about, how you got your name clean and fresh now. You know what I'm saying? You can go inside of jails and talk to people as well. Marie gonna get ready to do those same things. But I noticed that for people like me, returning citizens who have violent crimes, you just gave us some hope to know that we can now, for those of us who have life sentences, there is some restrictions. I don't know if you know them, but I know them. Can I share them?
Yes.
Okay. For life sentences, you have to continue to report for parole, and you have to pay a fee until you are pardoned. And after 3 to 5, at once it was 7, but a bill was overturned, and now it's 5. After 5 years, you can now put in and begin the process for getting your life sentence pardoned. And that's what I'm getting ready to do. I am so grateful that I am no longer a statistic. I beat that statistic of you're returning back. Recidivism just simply means that a convicted criminal reverting, going back to incarceration. Well, it says every 3 years. Well, praise God, I beat that 3 years. Fred, you beat that 3 years. Marie, you beat that 3 years. And so we are no longer a part of that statistics. But now, because of these 5 years, now I can begin the process, and I am beginning the process so that I can get this pardon off. So those of you that had life sentences while you were incarcerated, listen to what he is saying. You can go back and begin the process. clearing your record, because as long as we keep a stain on our name, that will be the tool that the enemy used to try to keep you down. Maria, I don't want to preach. What you got to say?
I like that. I want to ask y'all a question, Fred and Julius. The young man on Facebook, he said, I'm just asking, he said, do y'all help kids, like helping redirect them into a good path or job programs? So I would tell him about the visual and verbal, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Visual
tell him about the visual and verbal. So he wanted to know, he said, where, he said, I can listen to the program. So I told him, our Black Media, and he wanted to listen to the program. He want to know about I guess about his kids, because even though we're talking about Expungement Clinc, but you know, we deal with kids also, Julius and Fred. So I'm letting them know that right now.
Yeah, if you get his information, we can get back in touch with him when we roll out the apprenticeship or the verbal visual, so that he can be a part of that, and we can be able to get him pointed in the right direction.
Okay, I will.
And there are multiple nonprofits and multiple outreaches right now. Talented individuals with power. Angela Brantley Williams, and then you have Youth Intercept program with Marlon Knight and Miss Sylvia Spalding. So there are multiple platforms for young people, and definitely reach out to us at 8011 Waters Avenue, where we have come together with Filling the Gap and OAA, Offender Alumni Association, Savannah, and we are definitely work with our young people. And so now, as we continue to talk about this expungement, Fred, I know that Mr. Devetter has given you a little more information that you can share with us. So we got a PowerPoint presentation that she's going to provide for us on November. What date is that again, Marie?
13th.
November 13th at what time?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Where at?
8011 Waters Avenue.
8011 Waters Avenue. And listen, she's going to share in-depth information, but what we're doing right now is just whetting your appetite so that you can understand that there are people that are concerned, not just men and women, justice system impacted, returning citizens, but there are community members, community partners, faith-based organizations. But nevertheless, Fred, give us a little more schooling on all things expungement on your on the PowerPoint.
Well, it's very important, and I have to put a PowerPoint up, but it's very important for you to go through if you are justice system impacted, if you have pending charges. My daughter had a pending charge. She got in a domestic violence situation. She wasn't able to get an apartment, and then she hadn't even went to court. It got dismissed later on, but it stopped her right then and there from getting the apartment. So the system is set up to try to prohibit. If you're a professional now, you wouldn't got your master's degree, you might be in a social worker, or you might be a licensed professional counselor, and you need to get licensure. Now, this will help you to be able to go, because they were trying to restrict people from getting licenses. So you're getting a expungement. Now, it's paperwork involved with it. So it's very important that you go through the process. I'm going to say that one more again. Don't just put the paperwork. I did it for a whole year, maybe almost 2. I just didn't put it. Nancy kept nudging me. So as we collaborate, Deep, Young Dems, ARCs, OAA, Filling the Gaps, as we collaborate with the very law firm, we're here to nudge you and to push you to go ahead and get the paperwork. If you need help, we're here to help you with the paperwork so that you can get your restriction, your expungement, or your pardon, and get your record sealed. Why is it important, Julius? Once again, I said, like the crime-free housing program that was implemented nationwide. And it's just Chatham County now. It was nationwide, so you have to go and look at each one of your respective cities and towns as you live in them, or states. But here in Chatham County, there was 200 apartment complexes that signed over to crime-free housing. That meant that if you had a misdemeanor in 5 years, you couldn't live in those apartment complexes.
Wow.
They took no consideration to mitigating circumstances, look back periods, or how long they should look back at your criminal background and see how long it's been. evidence of rehabilitation, screening tools. They took no consideration for that. In 10 years, if you had a nonviolent, you couldn't live there in 10 years. If you had a violent felony, you couldn't live there at all. And if I was living with you, Marie, and I went on and Julius, and I caught a charge while I was out living with you, you would get evicted. That was under crime free. Now, the Devetter law firm worked hard, and we got that suspended here in Chatham County. Suspended. Wow. So it should be replaced with a fair chance housing policy or ordinance. So I want to touch on some of the PowerPoint. I won't be able to go through all of it, but I want to. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes. Just do little highlights. You know, that's all you got to do. Just highlights.
Okay. So I'm gonna do a little highlight. So I'm gonna talk about stuff like, I know you probably can't see me anymore.
I can see you, Fred.
Okay. All right. So one of the three, according to statistics, 1 out of 3 Americans have a criminal background. So they've been touched by the justice system in some kind of way. Okay.
Fred, may I say this before you go into your PowerPoint? Can I say this? Because people think that you have to go to jail and spend time in jail. If you get a traffic ticket,
that's right.
You're in it's a database that you're in. So if you get a traffic ticket, stop thinking that it goes against you. So go ahead, Fred.
80% of crimes are misdemeanors, like Marie talking about, just regular traffic stops. And the killing of innocent Black men in society that's been happening, that we've been seeing rash have all really started from a traffic stop.
Wow.
If you look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Georgia has the second highest incarceration rate in the country. Puts people on probation longer than anyone else. Is the second worst in the country in creating roadblocks for opportunities with people who may have arrest records, criminal records. Remember, Marie just said it ain't just about a criminal background, like you went to prison or you went to jail. Just an arrest record creates barriers. Worst possible rate in employment opportunity for people with criminal background. Limited expungement since 2021. Read through this fast. Options for advocates. If you are an advocate out there, stakeholders, if you listening, people that's ear hustling right now, that you're sitting on, you trying to see what this ain't thing is about. Listen, this is something for you. You can correct your record. You can help people by paying people fines and fees.
That's right.
You could go for retroactive first offender. If you're a DA and you listening, you know, DAs, if you listening, you're supposed to be doing not sentencing restructuring. You're supposed to be doing clemency courts, reentry courts, so that people can get this ugly stain off of them. And they can feel better about themselves. Their self-esteem can be raised. Their self-concept can be elevated. All right? Not possible to totally delete your record. Now, I want to say that. But you can restrict and seal. You can restrict and seal. Totally deleting your record under Georgia law is not possible, but you can seal your record or restrict your record. Law enforcement can still see it, but no public people can see it.
Right.
Y'all got that? All right. And that's more important, because what happens is you have a person who is sitting behind a computer and they say, because everything is internet based now. Everything is technology. So you send your resume in for a job. And on that question, when they do the screening, they'll ask you, the pre-screening, ask you, have you been convicted of a felony? So if a person has an implicit bias about somebody with a criminal background and you say yes, they can delete your stuff right then and there. But if you have it sealed, you can say with a surety, you can say, no, I don't have one anymore. And don't forget about clean slate legislation. 12 states in the union, 12 states in the country now have clean slate legislation. That's a big movement. You could look it up and Google it. You got the power at your fingertips. You can Google it. And it's clean slate legislation, a clean slate initiative. Stacey Abrams run down her campaign. And then we know Georgia gonna get it, but it's 12 states that got, I can't tell you the 12 states, but you can look it up, okay? I'm gonna keep riding.
Wait a minute, hold up, Fred. Hold up for just a second. Because I want to make this thing personal for some that are watching. I've been home now 5 years, and I'm so grateful for having all the staple things that's necessary to be successful, and that is the gainful employment, family support, stable housing, and community support. And when I came home and I had those things, I was trying to get an apartment. I was trying to find me a place to stay. Actually, me and my wife, because I had just gotten married. And so when I began to do that, at every turn, I was denied. And for those who may not, you pay for these application forms. Mm-hmm. Sometimes $50, sometimes $75, sometimes $100, or even more. So when you imagine spending that type of money for an application only to be denied, in some cases, you don't know why you're denied. And now in some cases, you're denied because of your background check, your past. And so this is one of the reasons why we believe it was beneficial for us to come out and partner with the Devetter Law Firm so that we can connect the dots and help, because you just gave us some statistics. 1 in 3, 80%, that's a lot of people. We need all the assistance we can get. We don't need anything holding us back, tethering us, or tying us down from success. And that's why we come out each Friday. We come out to let you know that, listen, you can make it. A lot of us are making it. We are successful. Marie and Fred, myself, and many other justice impacted or justice system impacted men and women. We are successful educationally, organizationally, occupationally, even relationally. You are successful. And so we want to give you the tools that will help you to get that goal that you are trying to reach. So that is why we are pushing and even pleading, if you will, for you. And if not you, then tell somebody that you may know, of a relative, a friend, somebody to come out to where at, Marie, what's the location?
It's 8011 Waters Avenue. It's
what time is that again?
It's at 5 o'clock.
To what time again?
It's at 5 o'clock.
To 7 o'clock. And we want
5
you to
to
know,
7.
Come on out and get the information you need. Fred, go ahead.
And so now another key pointer is, Julius and Marie and those that are listening, is one of the things, and I have not had personal experience, but working with individuals that was in the system, is inaccurate data.
Inaccurate what?
Inaccurate GCICs, or inaccurate data on your GCICs.
Most people got
inaccurate data on their GCICs, or the court said you was charged with this, but when they run your GCIC, you see this, or it's charged, what they call charge stacking. So now I got a one dope charge. The one dope charge turned into 20.
Wow.
Yeah, I got possession with intent. I got possession with intent to distribute. Yes. I got possession. I got all these different charges which came from one charge.
But is it legal for them to do that, Fred?
Well, they said according to section code OCGA, this is for Georgia. Look up your own section code, 35-3-37, right? 25 to 30% error rate. Statute allows for correction for inaccurate, incomplete, or misleading information on a GCIC.
Hold up right there. Hold up. We're going to pay some bills. And I got something I want to say on that right there. But right now, would you give us a few seconds? We're going to go and pay some bills. Take it away, Julius Hall. we back. Listen, boy, I be jamming on that music right there.
I see you.
GCIC, we say there's some inaccurate or misinformation. And one thing I do know is that when people go back and find out there is some misinformation, especially those that's trying to get out of prison and they're at the door, and then their counselor come and tell them that, listen, you got another charge, or they say, what charge is it? Now you got to spend more time, and it's all sometimes discouraging. But Fred, go ahead, tell us a little bit more about this GCIC.
Yeah, inaccurate data. And then also when people who running your record, that's why it's important to get it expunged restricted, because now people looking at it and they're like, oh my God, they did all this. And it's still from one charge. Remember, y'all, and I'm gonna lace you with this game. Frankenstein was the doctor, not the monster.
Yeah, I always thought he was the monster.
Yeah, his name was Dr. Victor Frankenstein. You been fell for the okie doke a long time ago, like I did.
Long time.
Was the doc, so they try to make us look worse on paper
than what it is.
And so that's what we were talking about when we talk about this thing serious. We talk about, and I had a guy that I was also helping, Marie, not to cut you off. They put the wrong, when we got his transcript, they put the wrong date on his transcript. So when they recorded it, because everything is recorded, transcribed in the court, the lady didn't stamp it till almost a year later. That's inaccurate.
Very much so.
That caused him to do more time, almost a year extra, because from the date that it was supposed to sentence started, it was stamped almost a year later. That's why you got to get this GCIC check. Go ahead, Marie.
Okay, so Fred, so if I have a pistol charge, right?
Yeah.
So why would they take, no, I'm gonna talk about what I know, because I don't know about the gun charge. Okay, say I had a forgery charge, right, Fred? So why would they, I'm
listening.
Okay, I got a forgery charge. Then they'll put something else, I done sign it. So they'll say forgery, then they'll say, oh God, what's the word they use? It's another word they use. But I was like, only thing I did was forgery. But they used maybe 3 other things that I don't think that should have been on there.
You could go for the restriction and get that taken care of, because you could dispute that and go back and get that too. And for the first offenders, now they got a law, and I don't know exactly the law. Hopefully next time in the Devetter, we write this down for a question. But for y'all, for first offenders, even people who have, who didn't complete the First Offender Act, you could go back now and get that retroactive under some new guidelines.
That's what Nancy told me.
Under the First Offender Act and get it sealed and get it taken off and get off probation. So it's a lot of stuff that you all need to come to this expungement clinic and get some assistance.
And Fred, guess what, Fred? And Fred, if you never use your first offenders, because she asked me, did I ever use? I told her no. Even though it's been over 20 years, don't you know that she can take and use my first offenders?
Yeah, that's what he used the term.
That's what Nancy told me.
Retroactive. Listen, man, I tell you, Fred, Marie, listen, we getting ready to turn this corner as we leave, because we want, we want to come back and we want to bring some of the Devetter law firm partners to definitely go a little more in depth. But as we get ready to come to an end, I'm going to ask both of you a question, and then I'll definitely again read the location and the time in just a minute. But Fred, tell us why again do you believe that this event is so important?
This event is so important because not only that, you get to meet the local attorneys, but also to get upward mobility in life, to have a better quality of life. We are not our mistakes, right? And a setback is only a setup for something great. And so even if you made a mistake or you didn't make a mistake, I'm talking to my exonerees and people who got pending charges but may have not even did what they've been accused of doing. They might have been just trying to protect themselves or anything, right? Get your record expunged, get it restricted. Not only that, we're going to have some stakeholders there. We're going to have some employers there. We're going to have people there that you can talk to. You could join OAA. You know what I'm saying? You can help out with filling the gaps or any other organization that is there, so that you can have sound support in the community. We don't live on an island by ourselves. And not only does it take village to raise children, it takes the village cohesiveness for us to be able to thrive and to be able to do better in life. So let us all work together and get back to community. It was once upon a time, Julius Marie, where I wasn't ashamed to go to my neighbor and say, my mama said, can I have a cup of sugar?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to go spend all my money in the store. But you may not seem like this is the same, but it is. It's community.
It's community.
It's community. It's citizenship. It's one hand wash the other. It's to go street. It's honor among thieves. You know, let us work together to help one another do better. That's what this Expungement Clinc is about. So that you can get this ugly stain that the system has put on you and try to use to keep you subjugated, so that we can be elevated, we can be motivated, right? We can be able to. Now, there's a difference between a moment and a movement, and you know what that is? Sacrifice. Sacrifice your time and come on out. Sacrifice your time so that you can get this thing, so that you can do better for your family. Sacrifice this time and come on out so that we can get to know you and learn the gifts of the heart, the gifts of the hand, and the gifts of the mind that you bring as well. Not that you just come to give, but we can learn your gifts so that we can all work together and we can help save our children and we can help save our community.
Go right, preacher.
I know that's right.
Marie, right there.
Would you give us another passionate plea to the people? Tell them where we're going to be, what time we're going to be there, and what date is going to be, and what we're talking about.
Okay, we're going to be at 8011 Waters Avenue. The date is November the 13th. It's from 5 to 7, and we're going to talk about the Expungement Clinc. Come out and help yourself. Listen, now Fred and Julia said nice, but I'm about to give it to you raw and uncut. Listen, come help yourself. This is free information. This is free. You don't have to pay for this. And this is a lot of things that people charge. And this is free. 8011 Waters Avenue for you to come out if you need your record sealed, expunged, for you to do better for yourself and your family. Like Fred said, come out to the Expungement Clinc. Nancy Devetter will be there, giving her time and her talent to you. That's all I got to say, Nico and Fred.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Fred. Julius Hall. Listen, man, I am so excited about when we get an opportunity to provide connections, to provide resources, to connect the dots, as Marie states. Listen, I tell you, she has already told us where, when, and what you need to do. Come on out. We look to see you. This your boy Julius Campbell. The way I sign off, you know, I love to say it. Look, I might have started this thing off wrong, but check us out now. We finishing strong. We hope to see you again next week, Friday, on Ain't to Ain't. Have a wonderful night. Good night.
Good night, y'all.
I like that.